First, Wendy, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back.
Always good to talk with you, Michael.
All right. What's been going on in your life? Tell us about the show, the downloads, everything that you've been doing. I'm very interested.
Well, we've really been staying busy. Texas Prison Weddings usually take up most of my calendar, but it's wedding season in Texas, so we've been bopping from one venue to the next and going into some people's houses and looking for some treasure among the trash. We've been busier than a gopher snake in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, there you are. I love that. I love that. All right. Well, what is some of the more unusual things that you guys have come across since we last spoke?
Well, we had one lady that was raising a second generation of kids, and she was a grandmother, and she was a widow, and she really wanted to do a graduation party for her grandson, but she didn't have any money, and she was going to trade us a couple of old dressers, but they were both missing the drawers, and we wound up finding some black pearls, and we flipped those to help her fix her old pickup truck, and Leanne handled the photography, and we got it done for her because, we do sponsor families when they're falling on hard times like that, and this is the first graduate in her family, so it was a really big milestone for them.
Okay. All right. And everything, I think, came off okay when you were all...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They were great people. They live in the far country, really far country. And then we had a prison wedding on death row, which I hadn't done before, and I was a little bit concerned about. But it went okay. It was all right. It was different. But, prison weddings are like that. I never know what to expect.
I'm kind of, scratching my head here. Prison wedding on death row. I mean,
yes.
how do you make it? Because that's kind of like, really confined, solitary confinement type of thing. Or there's, I've seen the movie, but I don't get how that happens.
Polunsky unit is death row. There's also death row inmates who are female, but this was male on death row.
Okay.
And the lady had contacted me and said, I know that you do federal, and I know you do jails, and I know you do Texas prisons, but would you do my wedding on death row? And I said, well, I'm somewhat apprehensive because we have to go into the unit. And she said, yeah, we do. And normally I get to use the visitation area, and it's, right off of checking into the guard shack, but you have to actually walk through the jail to get there, or prison, I'm sorry. And I was really nervous because I didn't know if things were going to be thrown at me. I didn't know if people were going to try to grab me. I didn't know what happened. And, I have a wild imagination. I always imagine horrible things like a riot. There's big signs that say if there's a riot and you're taking kids. If you're kidnapped, they're not going to help you. So, there is a certain degree of anxiety for me. It is. It's different. I'm not walking into an exclusive venue with beautiful decorations and happy, successful people surrounding me on a joyous occasion because a prison wedding is similar to a funeral for me. It's somber is the word I'm looking for, somber. It's very somber. The good times don't come until we leave the prison and take photos of the bride. Yeah, we do impromptu photo shoots with them outside of the prison, and I loan them bouquets and props, and we have fun because it's not fun marrying someone in a prison. It's not. I have to ask her, how come they're marrying somebody on the death row? I can't see why. I don't understand, but Michael, when you offer a service, you don't pick and choose who you offer the service to. We help rich people, we help poor people, and we help people that want to marry a prisoner. So that kind of gives us an interesting mix of clients. We never know what to expect here.
You got to have some kind of history to marry somebody on death row. I mean, did that come from a long correspondence or previous?
I actually asked her if they were pen pals or if she had known him, and she knew him before he went to death row. So she was pretty set on it. I actually tried to talk her out of it, to be honest with you. But, there's only a handful of people who are authorized to walk into a Texas prison and conduct a marriage. I happen to be one of three. So she didn't want anyone else. She wanted me to do it. And
well, it says a lot for you guys. Yeah, definitely.
It was kind of different. We did have over 3 million people read the blog because it was so shocking. And then we had one lady that was going to marry somebody on Connolly unit, and she called me back and said, I changed my mind. I don't want to marry him. I decided that I can do better than that. So, and I was thinking to myself, I was thinking that all day long, honey. Yeah. I don't know why you made that decision in the first place. And then we had a really sad event. I had married a military couple on Carswell Air Force Base, and she called and told me that she was pregnant, and I said, that's wonderful news. And she goes, no, it's not. Yeah. The baby has trisomy, and I need you to do the baptism. The baby may be dead, and then I need you to perform the funeral. That was incredibly hard on me. Emotionally, because I knew them so well. And when you do a funeral for somebody that you know the family, it's so hard. And we made it through that, and I realized that she was suffering from complicated grief, and she's gone to counseling. She's gotten a companion dog, and she's finally moving forward. But it has been, I'm a counselor at Two Together in Texas, and it has been a long path for her. It's been something that she wasn't going to bounce back from and still hasn't.
Our heart goes out to her. What are some of the more interesting treasures that you've found? Because I know that you go into people's houses and you find things and help them turn it around so that they can afford to do things like, pay for a wedding or do something else. What are some of the...
Well,
go ahead.
Bartering brings us some pretty interesting stuff. I'm looking for antiques. I love wood, and I love wood products, and I don't mind investing to restore and flip something. I'm looking for a quick flip. Cindy's looking for small items that need no refurbishing, and we can quickly list them at Texas Twins Treasure. So when we go into someone's house, we go separate ways. Yeah, I go one way, she goes the other. And somebody had emailed us and asked if we were ever afraid because we're walking into a complete stranger's house. And the only time that I was afraid was there were 20 guys on motorcycles in front of this barn. It was intimidating. It was. I was very intimidated. I didn't know why all these people were here, and I thought, no one's going to hear from us again. We're going to wind up in a bar ditch somewhere. But I texted my dad, and I said, hey, this is the address. If you don't hear from me again, you know where I am. So it's unusual for us to be scared, but it has happened. And, when you're out in deep country, there's rattlesnakes, and there could be rats in the barn, and, we're apprehensive sometimes going through someone's house, and then occasionally if we do find something that's worthy of flipping and bartering their event service, they don't want to part with it, so that's a problem. Yeah, because they want to get more than what it's actually worth. And if we're doing you a favor, I'm telling you what the street value is, because we know what it is. Yeah. If it was worth as much as you thought it was, I always tell them, then how the hell you ain't sold it before? We're on live radio. Oh.
They missed the button.
Sometimes we have to explain to them that we've been appraising items for over 30 years. So we're pretty much on the money when it comes to the appraisal value. And, no one else in the events industry is going to help them besides us. So they kind of have to go with what the appraised value is or mark some things off their list, Yeah, start checking some stuff off. Because don't expect to cherry pick a withered branch from a barren tree. People's generosity, even ours, eventually runs out.
Oh, God. All right, Wendy and Leanne, we got to go, but we're going to bring some TV cameras into the studio here in the next couple of weeks. If you're in Dallas, come in. Let's get it on tape and video, okay?
Well, we'd love to see you, Michael. Just send us an email, and we will be there with bells on.
I love it. All right, thanks, ladies.
Ring a ding-ding. Right. Thank you, honey.
Thank you. All right, that was the Texas Twins Events. .com is where you can find them, and we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Tony Drexel Smith of the Private Equity Spotlight.